So next up, podcast listeners, to underscore the issue of disorder, we have in Pompano Beach, Florida, not the mayor, but the vice mayor. I guess the vice mayor is the number 2 mayor. So in Pompano Beach, Florida, I always want to see Pompano, but it's Pompano Beach. I know that. Florida, a police officer, pulls over the vice mayor of the town. Okay. And the vice mayor was speeding like way over the speed limit, a solid 20, 30 miles over the speed limit. So the police officer really, obviously, I would imagine, decided, look, that's just too dangerous. You can't drive 60 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour lane. You just can't. So this officer does nothing more than to pull over this individual. He has no idea who it is. How could he? He's too busy putting his lights on, following the person, turning, pulling her over. And then and only then, of course, when they start reading the tag in to the system, do they determine what the person's name is. Doesn't mean that he recognizes the name. I mean, if I were a police officer and I pulled over, the vice president of Coca-Cola, do you think I would know who that is? I don't know. All right. I wouldn't, because the law is supposed to be blind. All right. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what position you hold in government, elected or otherwise, or a position you hold in the private sector. What matters is if you broke the law and you're driving in a way that's going to cause others harm, then the law applies to you equally. So Democrats are still struggling to distance themselves from the defund the police movement, but we all remember who was encouraging cities to slash funding. It was the Democrats, of course. Newly released footage reveals that one Florida Democrat, the vice mayor of Pompano Beach, Florida, was pulled over for excessive speeding. We have 2 clips on this. The first clip is the police officer approaching the car and saying to the vice mayor, hey, look, you were speeding. Here's what happened. I need your license and registration. And we have a second clip about how she decided to respond when he came back. Here's the first clip. Here it is.
Hands out the window for me. Hands out the window for me. Thank you. Put your hands back out the window for me. What's going on tonight? Nothing. The speed limit's 40 over here, and it's only 30 on 9 Ave. You're driving crazy down places. You're doing 45 down 9 Ave, and you're doing 60 down here.
So she was going 60 in a 30 mile per hour lane, roadway. And the police officer observed her for quite some time doing this. Whether she saw the police officer or not, I don't know. It's possible, and she decided to continue. But let's face it, we all know in the real world, when you're driving 60 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour area, you're going to get pulled over. All right. It's going to happen. And that's probably a pretty big fine. So here's the thing. The police officer approaches her, the vice mayor. He doesn't know who she is, goes back to his car with her license and registration. And do you think he gave her a ticket? No. He comes back to her vehicle and he gives her a warning. All right. I mean, talk about luck. I'd feel very lucky if I drove 60 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour lane and the police officer came back and said, hey, I'm just going to give you a warning today. I don't know why. I'm just going to give you a warning. Well, that's what he did. So he gives her a warning, and no sooner than he does that, than she decides she's going to get the last word because she's the vice mayor of Pompano Beach, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your modern Democrat Party. And again, another example of why there is disorder, because when you don't respect the police and you don't even respect the fact that the guy did you a massive favor by giving you a warning, what's next? It's no wonder we have these problems across America. We have that clip, the second clip, and here it is.
You need to slow down, okay? There's going to be a warning system saying I warned you tonight about speeding, okay? You hear what I said? You hear what I said? You got to slow down. I'm writing you a warning for speeding tonight, okay? Officer Nabhan.
I didn't hear you.
Officer Nabhan.
Nabhan?
Nabhan.
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 All right. I'm Vice Mayor Beverly Perkins from the city of Pompano Beach.
Okay.
Y'all need to find something better to fucking do.
Okay.
So she said, you better find something better effing to do with your time. And I'm the vice mayor of Pompano Beach. And so the way that first started out, that second clip there, is he said, you know, I'm going to give you a warning, and here it is. And do you understand? And she just sat there and looked at him with a blank face, like, you know, giving him daggers for eyes, like a whole F you kind of look. And just like, I'm in charge, I own you kind of look, the way she's looking at him. If you're a police officer, wouldn't you at that particular point in time want to go say, okay, ma'am, can you hold on for a few minutes? I was thinking about giving you a warning, because that's what I wrote up here in the ticket. It's just a warning. No points, no fine, no nothing, but I've changed my mind. That's what I would have done. I would have said, I'd changed my mind, because what's the teaching lesson? The teaching lesson and the teaching moment for the Pompano Beach vice mayor is you can call a police officer these horrible names, and you can treat him like he's a piece of crap, like you own him because you're the vice mayor. I mean, that's the problem right now in the United States of America. It's a Democrat Party who first started out with canceling the police, then defunding the police, and now providing no respect for the very people that are keeping law and order. And then he's even doing you a favor by not giving you a ticket. I'm just curious. Chris, wouldn't you like it? Wouldn't you, if you were that cop, say, when she started giving you all the look and all the mouth and all that stuff, say, oh, wait a minute. It's not a warning anymore. Now, because it's 30 miles an hour and it's 30 miles an hour and you went 60 miles an hour, it's a $500 fine, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was a massive fine.
I would have just gone back and changed it in the computer.
Right, exactly. You know, it's like, yes. And this is kind of a great example. And this is Florida, okay? So Florida is one of the obviously better states to live in. But obviously in Pompano Beach, you've got a bunch of libs who are running the town and the city of Pompano Beach. And these are the kinds of people that are there that run it, and you get what you elect, I'm just saying. But across America, we have this problem, and it is expanding. And so we started out that segment with eco warriors, you know, people basically terrorizing your property. Pretty soon, they're going to be breaking into your property. And then you wonder why. Because they feel like there are no consequences to what they do, because the Pompano Beach vice mayor is basically saying, by definition, that there are no consequences to speeding, and there ought not be, certainly for her, and the police officer didn't do her a favor because police are bad. It's really what they think.